You don't need talent for this. You just need a moment with me. AK Interactive sent me that set. It's the new Master Acrylic Wash Set. And you might think, doesn't AK Interactive already have a lot of washes? That's kind of right, but they have a lot of oil washes and also deep shades which are a little bit thicker, but these are classic acrylic washes. And today I will test all the 18 different varieties. So what are we gonna do today? We are testing all the 18 paints on 18 different Warhammer miniatures. And here is the most fun part. Before that video, I had zero preparation. I had zero opinions. These are also new for me. So right, this is not a test after mastering them for many weeks. This is not what we are doing today. You will see every single paint on a different miniature and how the paint reacts, how the brush applies the paint on the surface, how it dries out, and of course the final result of every single AK wash. And of course, most people know me for that. You will have 100% honest opinion to make sure that you are not buying something that you actually don't need or want. So what is the setup? I used 18 Warhammer miniatures, I primed them black, and after that I covered most of the area zenithal with a white primer. I shook all of the washes very well and put it straight on my wet palette. But also every other palette is fine. For the test, I'm using a Da Vinci size 4. You can basically use whatever you want. I would recommend a natural brush because the hair are giving up the wash better than most synthetic brushes. But of course, they would also work. And basically, I test 3 different things. First, the flow of the paint. Washes should flow on the model. They should not be crumbly, they should be smooth, they should be nice, they should be watery, but they also should cover the miniature with a fine film. Second, how hard are they staining? What basically means when the medium in the paint, for me, is not smooth enough, it will leave some stains, and I don't like stains. That doesn't mean that pooling will not happen. Basically, with all watery paints, pools will happen. 3, control. Do I have the full control over those washes? Or are they running around? Like, for example, oil washes. And at the end, of course, I will judge the different varieties of colors. If the first 3 things are not satisfying, I really don't care how many different paints they have. Please keep in mind, I have not used any kind of varnishes, I have not used thinners, I have not used any kind of flow improvers. I really used the paint raw out of the bottle on the miniature, because I think that's actually how people would use it on their miniatures. I divided all the 18 acrylic washers into 3 groups. Group number 1, the dark tones. So this is all kind of dark browns, black, all those wood tones. Category 2, all the vibrant tones, which is reddish, orange, yellow tones, magenta, you know, all those tones who are giving away a vibrant and warm look. And category 3, I would call it the colder ones, but at the end, it was just the rest. So which is basically blue, purplish tones, green tones, all those kind of tones, I would categorize into the more colder tones. But it's not 100% true. But to keep a nice structure in the video, I think that's the nicest way of doing it. So let's start with the category number 1. And I personally think this is the most important category because most people use darker washes to shade something down. And there we go. We put everything in a category, so that's the dark tones and the brown tones, followed by the vibrant tones. As you can see, I really like the brown tones, not a big fan of the pink. And at the end, there are the cooler colors. And here you see my wet palette. Don't overfloat it, it's unnecessary when you're just washing. As you can see, absolutely no thinner or anything. And the flow is very nice. I tried it also on my skin. You don't have to do it obviously, but as you can see, I go on to the miniature and it is very, very smooth, to be honest. I'm actually wondering if it's maybe too thick, but at the end it turns out I'm pretty happy with the overall impression of the paint consistency in general. As you can see, I'm just rushing through here now. It is a very repetitive thing. Obviously, I then mark all my miniatures, so at the end I know what is what. We're going in with the Black Knight.
I think this is one of the most important ones for us, because a black wash like null, for example, is very important for most people. And I think this is a very nice and very smooth paint. Followed by the hazel brown. I was very, very curious about that, because that is already a deep shade that I absolutely love. And to be honest, look at that. It is so yum. It is smooth, it is nice, it is reddish, brownish. I will 1000% use that. It's absolutely a blast. And then there is another black. There are basically some tones, and you should really just make your own opinion. What kind of like black tone is the best for you? I will have at the end one favorite for myself. I don't want to tell you what you should use. They have all varieties. For example, this one is a little bit more on the browner side and not like the night black is very classic. Rodwood brown, I think it is kind of like a replacement for Agrex or something, but boy, look at that smoothness. That looks chocolatey, nice brown. It's like very smooth. And then we go to pure grime, which is a little bit different. It looks also very brown, but at the end it dries out a little bit more on the greenish side, which I also very much like.
So that was category number 1. Those washes you will use the most, or most people use the most. The first impression is very nice. I am pretty happy about them, but also let's wait for the final dried out result. Because at the end I will give you a very quick opinion about every single paint and what I think is the best. And now let's go into category number 2, the vibrant and warm washes.
And let's get into it. Those are the paints we're using. Carmine Dawn wash. This is a pink wash. I don't really see the use for it, but Crimson Veil, this would be the red I'm going to. It is very nice, but as I said, it is kind of like 5% too bright. At the end, you will see the result, and you could make your own opinion, because I think it changed a lot. Light Rust, actually a very nice paint when you want to go for a Imperial Fist yellow, for example. Maybe then thin it a little bit down, but also here, be careful. The washes are drying out way more transparent than, for example, contrast paint. And we're going into the only purple tone. But hey, look at that purple. I was really in love with that purple. At the first beginning, I thought it's too dark, but no, it is very vibrant at the end, and it's very nice. Same with the rust. The rust tone is super smooth, very much a very nice orange, which is not so easy to achieve. But here is my favorite of that set, of that category. Look at that reddish tone. This is reddish brown, almost mahogany. I cannot even describe it. It's so smooth and so rich.
So category number 2, the vibrant and warm washes. Do I personally would wish they would bring the Infernal Red into a wash? What they kind of did with the Carmine Dawn, I think it's called Carmine Dawn. I can tell you right away, I would hope that this tone would be like 5% darker. I think it's not 100% where it can be, but it is very easy to fix that. You can just mix a little bit of a blackish tone into it. But still, I would hope for like a classic, crazy deep red tone, because this one is a little bit more in the brown direction. I would love to have it more in the purpley black direction. So yeah, that's a kind of a bummer, but it's just a personal thing. I still really like the vibrant tones. They're not always easy. I mean, like a very nice orange tone is hard to achieve with a very nice orange tone that is not immediately running away and is still vibrant, and is still saturated. It's not an easy thing to achieve, and I think they did a good job on them. Even when I think that this category is not the winner of the competition of the 3 categories. So let's go to category number 3. the colder tones, or maybe the leftover tones, because I didn't really found a great name for it, okay? I'm really looking forward to those because they have some variety that I could use at several projects. But I think that's enough talking. Let's go into category number 3.
So here are the paint. As you can already see, they're basically all a little bit off. So they're not really fitting in one category, which is totally fine for me. We have a verdigris. I was curious about that. I would not say I was disappointed because I really see the use of that, but it was not intense enough for me for a verdigris. But still, you can use it for many things. It's like coats, you can use it for like everything that should be like very silky and whitish. And here we come to my favorite of that category, the green wash. Look at that. This is rich. This is so nice, so vibrant, 100% saturation, love it. Followed by putrid green, which is also a nice paint. This goes more in the emeralds direction, which I also like, but I don't really have a use for that personally. But as you can see, also absolutely blast of a color, love it. It's very nice. This category is actually going to be one of my favorites. And here we come to a very interesting paint. This is dark gray wash. And it is drying out and in general darker than the black ones. Be careful with that, but there is a massive use for that. We're now going into that beige wash, which I was okay-ish happy because I can see the use. You know, when you have a skeleton horde, you need some washes for that. I get that, but it's not so intense. Blue Moon, I absolutely see a lot of usage for that. All of the black armor, everything that you want to go black armor, but not classic black.
So that was category number 3. Let's break it down a little bit. Nothing feels gimmicky. Nothing feels like the next big thing. Nothing feels like this is something you have to have. Nothing feels like they invented washes new. But on the other hand, I had nothing that bothers me. Coming out of a zero acrylic wash experience, I think they did a very good job with that 18 colors of the 3rd generation wash set. But why I'm not hyped, you know, it is still something that I would need, it's still something that I like. At the end, I can tell you, I'm not hyped because I didn't expect different. I think AK is doing great products for great prices. And at the end, after all that 18 paints, I will show you every single paint, how it looks after it's dry. And I can tell you, those are better than most washes. And I think they will replace the washes I have pretty much immediately. So let's get into the final result, because I also, as I said, this is the first time I use them. I have to process this by myself.
So as you can see here, the paints are drying out very, very nice. Way lighter than you expected. And here you can see a very quick review of all the paints that I used for this video. As you can see, the dark gray is way darker than, for example, the Black Knight on the left side. The beige is too light for me. The Blue Moon is actually very, very nice. I absolutely love that. Let's check out the final result of the vibrant colors. Bring them back in. They're dry now, calming down, very pinkish. I don't see the use, but it's okay. Crimson, it is nice. It dries out darker than I expected, and it's a nice red. Light rust. If I stop pooling, great wash for yellow tones. Let's go into the purple wash. This is very rich. Love it. Pooling, of course, it's a thing, but still very nice and rich. Standard rust. Also very nice. You can see it's drying out very clean. And the wood grain, it is amazing. I will use that for so many things, actually.
So let's come together, guys. Everything is done. We saw the first impression. We saw how it goes onto the miniature. We now see the final result of the dried out miniature, and I'm actually amazed, because when I see all those nice little soldiers in front of me, the first thing I can tell you is that I'm rarely seeing washes that are that controlled like the acrylic washes from AK. I think they're really a nice addition to my paint range. So I will probably use them in my daily life as a commission painter. But the main question is that something that you need? At the end, I think that acrylic wash set is something for everybody. It is affordable, it has a nice paint range, it is really something that makes your models look better, and it's very controlled. So I really recommend those washes, even if I think there are already some nice products on the market. So thank you guys for watching my video. Check out my other videos. My mission is very clear: make you a better painter.